All right, hello and welcome to the Word Around Town, episode 20. I'm Steve Jamrok with Realty Executives Premier, your host. And in this podcast, it's my goal to keep you updated and educated on what's going on in the real estate world, along with local events and happenings that impact our Northwest Indiana communities. So if you're curious about real estate and market updates, local events, happenings, or just what it's like to live in Northwest Indiana, well, then you've come to the right place. In this week's episode, in real estate, well, there's no new lawsuits this week, so that's something to celebrate. But in all seriousness, there's some new financial reporting rules that are going into effect March 1st that could impact you if you are going to buy or invest in real estate. So you'll want to pay attention here and tune into that part, folks. Interest rates continue to trend in the right direction, which is great news for the real estate world. Around Northwest Indiana, a new survey confirms that more people are moving to Indiana than from Indiana. I'll give you an update on what I'm hearing from both the Illinois and Indiana side regarding the Bears Stadium update. Great news continues to come out of Gary as 3 new projects are currently underway that will benefit the city in the long run. And a couple of oldies but goodies are closed or coming down in the city of Crown Point. The Monon Corridor is getting set to open in March. I'll tell you what that is and the impacts it could have on Northwest Indiana. And speaking of March, nothing says March Madness in Indiana like high school boys basketball sectionals. Those are getting underway starting March 4th. I'll highlight a couple key matchups here in the region that I'm looking forward to watching. So, all right, before we get started, as always, thanks for tuning in here. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'd be honored if you took a second, hit that subscribe button so you can go ahead and be notified whenever new content comes out here. If you like what you hear, give it a thumbs up. Share this with anybody else you know who might find this information useful. And of course, comments, suggestions, leave them in the comment box below. I will get back to you. All right. In real estate this week, there's some new financial reporting rules that are going into effect starting March 1st. All right. Now, this is important. This is for all of you out there who could be buying or investing in real estate this year. Now, this doesn't affect everyone out there, but if you are going to purchase a property as an entity, think about an LLC, a corporation, a trust, and you're going to buy that property in all cash, there are new rules and a new system in place to report that purchase to the federal government, okay? This is called the FINCEN Reporting Rules. FINCEN stands for Financial Crimes Reporting Network. And the whole point behind this is to help curb money laundering in real estate transactions. So again, if you are going to purchase a property as an entity, a lot of investors out there, maybe you have an LLC or a corporation that you like to purchase properties in, or, a lot of you everyday people out there who have trusts and you want to purchase your next house in your trust. This will affect you if you are paying cash. All right. So let's go ahead and break it down here a little bit. This is for single-family properties, residential properties, 1 to 4 unit properties, condos, townhomes, certain mixed-use properties, along with vacant land that you plan to build on. If you purchase any of those as an entity and with cash, you will need to report that to the federal government. So break it down a little bit further. Let's go ahead. I use the example of Bob and Nancy Smith, all right? Bob and Nancy Smith, they see a house that they want to go ahead and purchase. If they buy that house as Bob and Nancy Smith and take that money out of their own checking, savings, or financial accounts, that's fine. This does not affect them whatsoever. But if they want to purchase this property as Bob and Nancy Smith Land Trust or the Bob and Nancy Smith Revocable Trust, and they're going to pay cash with it, then that will need to be reported to the federal government. Or if I have an LLC that wants to go ahead and purchase a little 2-unit building as part of our investment portfolio, well, if I have the 123 Main Street LLC and I'm going to pay cash for that 2-unit property, that would need to be reported to the federal government. So again, this all has to do with preventing money laundering in real estate. So who is responsible for reporting this? Well, it's going to fall on the hands of the title company or closing agent that is closing the transaction. You as the buyer will be responsible for filling out the reporting document and submitting it to the title company prior to closing. If you are doing this without a title company, for some reason, maybe you're purchasing an off-market property by owner, don't want to get a title company involved, you've done the title research yourself, definitely recommend getting an attorney involved so you know what exactly you're doing and what exactly needs to be reported and to who. So once you purchase the property, you have something you have your signed contracts ready to go. Those contracts get sent over to the title company. The order is updated, and then you'll receive as a buyer a email with a portal link for how to report to the federal government. At that time, you'll go in there, fill it out. We as realtors and the title company as the closing agent, we cannot help you fill that out. So if there's questions or any concerns about filling out those information on the government website, then you will need to, or we would recommend you contact your attorney and or accountant to help you fill out those documents. But as realtors, as title agents, we cannot help you fill those out complete if you have any questions, okay? What should you do now to be ready for this? Well, it's really kind of simple. It sounds a little bit more scary than it actually is. But again, they're basically looking to make sure that you have your corporation or your LLC or the trust is all legit and where that money is coming from is legit. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your corporation docs, your articles of incorporation, or your trust docs all in order and ready to go. So once you decide that you want to submit an offer on something, start gathering those documents and have them ready, okay? You're also going to want to make sure that your authorized signers are up to date and that if you are going to assign a point person to be the one who is responsible for reporting and taking care of this, make sure that they are acknowledged up front. And then also make sure that your funding source is in place and the same throughout the transaction. So wherever you're getting that money from, if it's from your bank or Fidelity, let's say, you're going to want to make sure that that funding source stays the same. So whatever you report that funding source to be, that bank needs to be the same bank that sends the wire for closing. If not, that will delay closing, as you will have to go back and re-report it. The other things that could delay closing too, I know a lot of you as investors, you have one LLC lined up, but then when you get to closing, you like to switch it around, change it into a different LLC. You will no longer be able to do that. Everything will need to be set up front. Any changes made will cause a delay in closing if you do not make those changes ahead of time. Okay, you can't walk into closing. You can't walk into closing and start filling out the financial reporting. You can't walk into closing to change the funding source, and you can't walk into closing to change who is purchasing the property. That all needs to be set up and reported as is. Any changes, again, would be a delay in closing. Now, you might be sitting here thinking, well, not a big deal. I don't care about this so much. Well, there are some penalties involved if you decide to erroneously report information to the government. If it's decided that you are going to just, you made a mistake, negligence, something along those lines, they could fine you a few $1,000s. If you are a repeat offender who just keeps making mistakes on these reports, you could get fined upwards of a couple $100,000. Now, if it's found out that you knowingly falsified documents or falsified your funding source or changed anything, you could be fined upwards of $250,000 and face up to 5 years in federal prison. So again, there's going to be no exceptions here. I've talked to numerous title companies here in the area. They are going to be strict. There's going to be no leeway because, again, their butts are on the line for this as well. They're responsible for reporting it from you to the government. So any changes or mistakes that they make, they're responsible for. Or if they say, oh, not a big deal, we'll change it later, that's their butts on the line as well as yours. So again, this is something you're really going to want to pay attention to because, again, a lot of investors out there, or especially, maybe not so much investors, you're probably kind of on top of this, especially if you've been doing this a while. But again, Bob and Nancy, who have their trust and they want to just go buy a piece of real estate out there to build their dream home on, or they're ready to downsize and they want to buy their next property in the trust and they're going to pay it with cash, this could come as a surprise to them, and they're probably going to need some assistance. So you're going to want to make sure you're aware of this up front and you're knowledgeable about this, because this will be a big change. And like I said, as long as you have everything ready to go, closings will go smooth. The hiccups will come if you're not aware of this and you're not paying attention to the tasks involved here. So if you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comment box. Reach out to me directly. Again, this is the FINCEN reporting rules, Financial Crimes Reporting Network rules. This goes into effect March 1st of 2026 this year. Again, affecting LLCs, corporations, trusts, any entity that uses cash or private money, hard money loan, seller financing, any type of financing that doesn't come from an institution that has an anti-money laundering program in place will need to be reported to the FinCEN network and the federal government. Again, any questions on this, reach out. Be glad to discuss those with you, or go ahead and leave them in the comment box below. On to interest rates. Interest rates continue to trend in the right direction. We are under 6% now. 5.98 is the average as of today, Thursday, February 26th. So that's great news for buyers. Again, my one concern, I don't want rates to come down too quick, because we're not seeing the inventory come on the market right now, guys. A very, very slow trickle of homes over the last 2 weeks coming onto the market here in Northwest Indiana. So if the rates come down too fast, we're going to get into that inflationary pricing again, where home prices are going to shoot up, and then any gains from lower interest rates are going to be washed out. So we just want to kind of make a slow move in interest rates as they come down here. The real positive with interest rates, again, is that they've been consistent. We're not seeing the major swings that we saw over the last couple of years. Last year we'd go from 6% to 6.5% to 7%, down to 6.7%, up to 7.2%, down to 6.1, et cetera. We really fluctuated a lot. This year it's consistent, minor, very, very minor ups and downs. So it's much easier for you as a home buyer to plan out and budget for your interest rates, with right now, at least, not being concerned about major spikes coming in the interest rate market. So again, as of February 26th, the average rate is 5.98. So again, I do believe that we are going to see our spring market take off. All the early indications that I'm seeing out there, while it is a little bit slower right now, when the weather broke and people came out kind of ready to go, get out of the houses, we definitely saw an increase in showings and attendance at open houses. I think there's been a lot of people that have kind of been on the sidelines over the last year or two that have kind of been waiting and putting their plan in place. And now as interest rates come down, there's going to be some good competition out there. So again, if buying a home is in your future here for 2026, definitely reach out. Let's get your plan in place now so that you can be successful once you're ready to go and you can go ahead and stay ahead of the competition. All right, around Northwest Indiana now, there's a recent survey that was conducted of moving companies and U-Haul about where people were moving to and from. And for the first time here in quite some time, more people have been moving to the state of Indiana than away from it. And Indiana currently ranks 25th, so kind of right in the middle, right in the middle in the United States of the number of people moving to the state compared to moving away from it. Whereas Illinois ranked as one of the states with the highest percentage of people moving away from Illinois. So again, I'll let you finish connecting the dots there. More people moving away from Illinois, more people moving into Indiana. Not saying they're all coming from Illinois, but a good chunk of them are. So good news for Indiana as we continue to see our population grow. So speaking of moving from Illinois to Indiana, the Chicago Bears are still out there, still awaiting their decision on where they're going to be. So give you an update kind of what I've heard and what I read this week of where we stand from Indiana and Illinois. Again, this is as of February 26th of 2026. 26th of 26. Anyhow, sorry. So Indiana recently passed their stadium finance bill for their Northwest Indiana Sports Authority to have all the financing mechanisms in place for the Chicago Bears to move to Northwest Indiana. It passed the Senate. It passed the House with a small revision, went back to the Senate, and in each time it passed resoundingly. It is now on the way to the governor's desk to sign, which he is expected to do. That firmly puts the ball into the Bears' court and just says, okay, Chicago, what do you want to do? Our proposal's on the table. Our financing is now a law. We're ready for you if you are. The Bears continue to wait on Illinois. And as of today, Illinois continues to say they've made progress towards a bill that will allow the Bears their tax certainty that they seek. Actually, the Illinois Assembly was meeting today to discuss that bill. And from my understanding, and forgive me if I don't get all the political terms correctly here, but that bill went to a committee which was voted on and approved and came out of the committee of putting the approvals for their tax certainty in place. Okay? Now, that still needs to go to the House to vote on. That was not expected to be done today. There's still some questions of the infrastructure financing and where that would come. And more importantly, there's some questions around what Chicago is going to want from the Bears in order to get their votes for this project. Because again, Chicago is losing the Chicago Bears, whether they're coming to Indiana or Arlington Heights. They're not staying in Chicago as of now. Now, something crazy could come out of left field here, and all of a sudden they end up staying at Soldier Field or a renovation of Soldier Field. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's definitely going to be down to Arlington Heights or Northwest Indiana. But it is possible. But Chicago area lawmakers are saying that, hey, if you want us to vote yes on this, we're going to need to see some kind of incentive to come back to help pay the debt off for the renovations of Soldier Field that are still out there. Give us something since we are losing you. So that's kind of where it stands right now. It's, again, all the Illinois lawmakers, and everybody around Chicago chimed in with, hey, this is great news, progress being made, moving forward, Bears are staying in Illinois, but it's not there yet. There's still a lot of hoops on the Illinois side that have to be cleared yet. And again, back on the Indiana side, we're ready to go. Just saying, Bears, you tell us when, we'll be good to go. So again, my opinion, it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity. You got to take a swing for this. I know a lot of people were concerned about the taxing here in Indiana and where it's coming from. My understanding from what I've read of the bill is that the majority of the money would come from taxes from a hotel innkeeper's tax, an admission tax on the events there at the new stadium, along with a 1% food and beverage tax in Lake and Porter County. So that is my understanding of where majority of the money would come from. It's not coming from property taxes. It's coming from those service taxes, so to speak. And again, it's not groceries. It's, you're going out, prepared food, sitting down, having dinner somewhere. You'd have a 1% of your food and beverage tax from there that would go to help pay off the Bears stadium should they come here. Now, again, nobody likes new taxes, but this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. I do believe the economic benefit overall and the notoriety of the region would explode should the Chicago Bears move to Northwest Indiana, and I think that would far outweigh the additional tax that we would incur from a food and beverage standpoint or a hotel standpoint. Especially speaking as a realtor, I think more and more people would come here. I've already talked to agents who are seeing people buying speculation in the Whiting and North Hammond area just in case the Bears do move here. So people are excited. We will see an increase in our property values, especially in that Hammond, Whiting, and North Township area there around the stadium. And I think it'll be a residual effect around Northwest Indiana as well. I will be disappointed to see Lost Marsh Golf Course go if the Bears do come here. One of my favorite courses in Northwest Indiana, but I guess we'll take it if the benefits are having the Chicago Bears in Northwest Indiana. Now, one last thing, a kind of funny quote I'll end on that I read from Governor Pritzker of Illinois, talking about the Bears potentially moving to Indiana. And this was from an article in Crane's Business Journal in Chicago. And I quote, "I'm very interested to see how the people of Indiana, the voters of Indiana, feel about the massive increases in taxes, about paying for a stadium in Indiana for Chicago Bears. Do they want to raise their taxes to pay for a stadium in the state of Indiana for Chicago Bears? We'll see. So that's a question for the people who live in Indiana," unquote. So I find this funny and humorous that J.B. Pritzker of the state of Illinois is all of a sudden concerned about high taxes and what Indiana and our citizens are going to potentially pay for a Bears stadium. When Illinois, especially Cook County, has some of the highest property taxes in the nation, along with some of the highest tax rates in the nation. So very funny to hear Governor Pritzker kind of throw that scare tactic out there. But again, it's, you sit there and you talk about taxes. I don't want to hear from anybody from Illinois talking about high property taxes over here. All right. A couple other good things coming out of the Calumet region there, and this is in Gary. Gary has 3 projects going. They have a ton of projects going on. It seems like every week now I'm talking about something happening in Gary that is a positive, and that's so great to hear now. I've always felt that a strong Gary is good for the region as a whole. So to see a lot of this development happening in the city of Gary, it's really exciting news. We're going to start off with the convention center, and that's getting overlooked with the Bears potentially moving to Hammond. But a convention center is still planned and in the works to be built next to the Hard Rock Casino in Gary. This convention center recently took a step forward when funds were secured and put into place for things to get started there. So again, that convention center should be breaking ground soon. It'll be exciting to see as that goes along there and the development that it brings to the region around Hard Rock and Northwest Indiana and Gary. They also have a new FedEx cargo facility being built in Buffington Harbor. It's a $60 million warehouse, and it's over 300,000 square feet. It's located right around the corner from the Gary-Chicago airport. So again, capitalizing on the increase in cargo flights that they're getting into the Gary airport with a major investment from FedEx at Buffington Harbor of that 300,000 square foot warehouse there. And then also they received a new grant for blight reduction in Gary. So 60 additional homes are going to be torn down here in the near future as they continue to try to eliminate vacant and blighted properties throughout the city of Gary. All right, over into Crown Point. We have a new coffee option opening soon here early in March. It seems like every other week we have a new coffee option, but this one is Dutch Brothers Coffee. I've seen a lot of people get excited about this one, just as they got excited about Severn Brew as well. So that should be opening soon here on the 109th Corridor near the new Panera Bread, which just recently opened as well. Now, we did have a couple icons that are closed and are being torn down here recently. So the first one, it's not being torn down, but it did close, and that is the White Hen Pantry, otherwise more recently known as The Hen. That one's a little sad. Over there on North Main Street. A little disappointing there. It was a fun place to go. I'll admit, I haven't been in quite some time, but it was a convenience store. When I first moved here, you'd go in there, grab something to go, and you'd always see a lot of people just sitting around the booths talking, drinking their coffee. A lot of the old timers in there. Just kind of a cool little gathering place to meet here. But recently, it used to be the White Hen, then became the Hen, and now, unfortunately, it is closing down there. So just a little piece of a Crown Point lore that has closed. Also, coming down. If you've been around the old St. Anthony's Franciscan Hospital on South Main Street, the main tower is starting to come down, being demolished. It's really kind of cool to watch and see. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with that property yet. We'll keep an eye on it, and if I hear anything, I'll definitely put it out there for you guys. But if you want to see something cool, take a watch, take a drive out there and see that whole main tower of the old St. Anthony's Hospital is starting to be demolished and come down. Over in the West Lake section of Lake County, the Monon Corridor. This is the southern extension of the South Shoreline. This is getting ready to open here in mid-March. All right, I think around March 16th, I think was their opening date. They've been running test trains up and down the track almost daily to get things ready to make sure everything is good to go. And once that line opens, it's going to open up a great new opportunity for commuters who work in downtown Chicago. And for those of us that just want to visit downtown Chicago as well. So this used to be called the Westlake Corridor. They changed the name to the Monon Corridor now. Another cool thing about this is that it's going to be a quiet zone. So trains traveling along there, they got permission not to blow their whistles as they approach the stations or crossings. It will be a quiet area. So that will help with residents in the area because the train line is going through some major residential areas. There's 4 new stations involved here. The first one is going to be the Hammond Gateway Station. This is kind of the transfer station. This is going to be located at Gosselin and Sheffield. So trains that are running east and west, if you will get off at that station to hop on a train that's running north and south. Then there's another new station planned in South Hammond at 173rd and Lyman Street. And then the Munster Ridge Station, which is at Ridge Road and Manor Avenue. And the Munster-Dyer Station, which is at Main Street on the Munster-Dyer border. So 4 new stations, 4 opportunities for you to park along the South Shore Monon Corridor and take that train up into Chicago or over to South Bend as well. So, or, you can hop on the train in Dyer, head over to Ogden Dunes, hit the beach for the day, and come on back. A lot of possibilities opening up here. I'm really excited. They're going to be, last week I talked about new liquor license that have been granted for the transit areas that's around these stations. So I expect development to start slowly growing around these stations. I know that housing values around these areas have increased. Demand for houses in these areas as well have increased. So now as they continue to make these into kind of walkable transit areas, it will be really cool to see how this expands again. Just another benefit here for Northwest Indiana. All right, March is right around the corner, and that means March Madness here in Indiana with high school boys sectional. And sectionals begin March 4th, and the big question here in Northwest Indiana, can anybody stop Crown Point? They are a powerhouse. They went 19-1 this year. Their only loss was to Gary 21st Century at home. And they have a great team, a deep team. They've been tested time and time again. So this could be a year they make a great run. I don't see anybody here in Northwest Indiana stopping them. I think they will continue to go through the playoffs until they meet up with Fishers, who is just... I call Crown Point a powerhouse. Fishers is basically a D1 college team. They are that talented. So if that matchup should come to fruition, that will be something to put on your calendars to take a look at. But if you want to see a fun basketball team, check out Crown Point as they get sectional started against Hammond Central. And then another sectional to watch will be the Chesterton sectional, where Portage has had a really, really strong year this year. They have a very strong team. I think one of their only losses came to Crown Point, but they start off with Chesterton, and then they'll, if they get past Chesterton, they'll have to get through either Velpo or Maryville, which are both having down years. So I think Portage should come out of that sectional there. They have a really, really talented team. And then the other intriguing sectional is in the 2A Boone Grove sectional, where Andrean could run up against Gary 21st Century. Again, Gary 21st Century is a talented team. They were the only ones to give Crown Point their only loss this year. And then Andrean, even though they're having a down year, I don't care what sport it is, you never count Andrean out when it comes to the playoffs. So that could be a very good matchup as well, should it come there. So that's what's going on around town in Northwest Indiana this week. I appreciate you checking in and taking a listen, taking a watch. If you have any questions or if I can help you in any way, again, don't ever hesitate to reach out, leave those comments below. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you next week.